8:15 in the morning here on Wadsworth Community Radio, and our special guests have arrived here. We have Mark Arnold and Tim Jackson and his coach in studio with us here this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey, thanks for having us. I hope you're not sick of me by now.
No way. We're not going to do that.
Well, want to open it up and say good morning to you, Tim.
Good morning.
Thank you for making time for us this morning.
Our pleasure.
Where are you from?
Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, so you didn't have to make too far of a journey.
No.
Okay. Well, how long you been golfing?
Let's see here. I'm 59, and I started golfing when I was 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so who encouraged you to play?
My father.
Okay. Did he a longtime golfer too?
He was. He passed away the same year I lost my eyesight, which is 29 years ago now. And I was playing fairly good till I lost my sight, and then I got really ticked off and threw my clubs in the garage and said I wasn't playing anymore, until a buddy of mine said, "Come on, let's go play golf." And I shot like a 98 or 99, and I was really mad because I'd been shooting in the 70s.
I was going to say, well, I thought that was really good.
So I said, that's it, I'm not playing anymore. And so he showed me a article in the Golf Digest that said that if you count every stroke and play the game like you're supposed to, count every stroke, you don't fluff the ball up, you play it where it lies, that only 15% of the golfers in the world average under 100, and that includes the pros.
That was going to be one of my questions is, well, how many golfers shoot under 100?
If they play it out and don't fluff the ball up in the fairway, and don't take it off the root, or they hit every shot, take every penalty, then only 15% will actually average under 100. So he said, you shot 98. He goes, you're legally blind. He goes, shut up, grab your clubs, and let's go.
Let's go, yeah.
And so you picked up the game again.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, I guess tell me a little bit, if you can, how being visually impaired has impacted your game.
It impacts the game in more of a technical way. You technically want to hit the ball first and pinch it between the club and the ground to get your maximum distance and spin on the ball. I can't do that anymore.
I can't do that.
I don't have the eye-hand coordination, the depth perception, and that's why in blind golf we call it the greatest two-man sport in the world, because without your coach, I might be able to I'll hit the first tee shot and then spend the next 5 hours looking for the ball. And then I don't know where the hole is, so I spend another 5 hours trying to figure out where to hit the ball. So your coach is actually as important, no less important than the golfer is in this game.
Well, then that brings me to Coach. If we could pass the mic. Good morning.
Good morning.
Coach Carrie Dean. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, see, when I do my homework. Well, how long have you been Tim's coach?
Since 2006.
Okay.
Tim called me and says, hey, will you go to Portland, Oregon with me to be my coach? I said, Tim, I love you like a brother, but I'm not carrying no man's clubs. He said, I said coach, not caddy. So
once you got that clarified.
Yeah, it's been all good.
So what'd you do in Oregon?
Well, I learned to fib. Since he doesn't see so well, there's a lot of things he doesn't need to know about.
There you go.
He doesn't need to know about any water.
This is sounding like Happy Gilmore. We were talking a little bit off air about.
Well, the first tournament we went to, they had a Most Spirited Team Award, and Tim and I actually won that.
Oh.
And then the next year they didn't have that anymore.
Oh, so they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, nobody had the team spirit like you two did then,
That's
apparently.
Right.
So they figured that once they gave you the award, anything else would just be subpar to that, no pun intended, so they just did away with the award, right? Now, are you from Columbus also? Or?
I'm from about an hour south, a little town called Jamestown, Ohio.
Okay.
So how often then do the two of you practice?
Oh,
Why is Mark laughing?
Just jot that off.
No.
No. yeah, maybe once a month.
Okay. Now, do you have anyone else that you play with more frequently than once a month, Tim?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have a couple nephews that live in Columbus, and a good friend, my son-in-law, and the good friend lives close to me, and he golfs in a league, and he'll have me sub for his partner, his two-man league partner, sometimes. And he said, I like it because I like just telling people after we get done playing, you just got beat by a blind guy, right? You understand that. And he likes to rub that in. But it's I play a lot of golf, but we'd known each other since 1990, I think, and we actually hunt together. He takes me out deer hunting.
You look like a hunter, Coach.
Yeah.
Actually, the Duck Dynasty is what you remind me
Yeah,
of.
with the beard, exactly. But and people really get freaked out when they hear that I carry a gun and go deer hunting. But I do all the cooking and we play cards every night, so that's the fun part. But and I've actually shot 3 deer. But we're on private land. I know where everybody is. They all know me. They know not to when we post people up. Yeah, Carrie
No
tells
making
them.
jokes, yeah.
Yeah, Carrie tells him. He says, "Don't put your hands over your head. He'll think you're a deer and shoot you."
So, well, that brings me to, with you saying that's incredible. So I know that Mark competes in the B2 level. What competition, what level do you compete in?
I'm in the B3. I'm just under that. Our stages are B3 is you have to be worse than 20 over 200, but not 20 over 600 in your best eye, and it can't be corrected. So people could be 20 over 500, 20 over 600, but glasses correct it. This has no correction available. So, and then a B2 is worse than 20 over 600 and not totally blind. Yeah.
Correct.
And then totally blind, of course, is the B1. Now, and I am 20 over 1600 in my left and 20 over 500 in my right. So I'm sitting right on the cusp. If my right eye gets any worse, then I'll end up in the B2 division.
I see.
Now, have you ever played at Ridgetop before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yes.
tell me your likes and dislikes about the course.
You be very honest, Tim.
Yeah, right. Okay, Mark's sitting right here. Let's see here. I love this course. No,
I'm
it's actually
sensing
not a
some
bad-
sarcasm.
Yeah, I like this course. I really do.
Is it tough?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
got some challenges. There are some open holes. There are some holes you can score on. You can cut some corners if you can hit a strong drive. You can cut some corners on the par 5s and do some scoring. But the par 3s will eat you alive on this course. And then the par 4s, if they're short, they just make them tough. They just put a trap in the wrong place or the right place, actually. And you either have to bomb it over the trap or hit it short, and then you got a really long second shot. So you take your pick. You pick your medicine and go.
Well, it's been raining a lot here over the past few days, and you being from Ohio, at least you're probably a little bit used to this kind of weather, but how will a potentially soggy course impact your game tomorrow?
It impacts everybody's game in that you don't get you're going to get what you hit. And by that I mean you're not going to get any roll. So on a really nice day, and if it's been dry, you can hit a drive that goes out 230 yards in the air and get 20, 25, 30 more yards on the roll. And on this course, there aren't a lot of traps that guard the greens, so you can run the ball up onto the green. You're not going to do that a lot.
do it
Now you're going to have to. But the good thing is, though, now you can shoot to the green because the ball's going to stick a little better than normally.
Now, were you guys out playing it all yesterday at Ridgetop? Or
Kerry went out. I did not. I did not.
I'm just curious because I was at one of the other courses yesterday. The Wadsworth Chamber of Commerce had their golf outing, and it was out of Roega, and it was really sloppy. I mean, even on the I was just running the golf cart around, going back and forth from tent to tent, doing maintenance kind of items for the course. But it was, I mean, even on the crest or whatever of the hills, low-lying areas obviously, but even on the top of the hills, I mean, they're just rooster tails. When you had to get off the golf path or whatever, just rooster tails coming up off the golf carts. I was really surprised at how sloppy it was out there.
Yeah. I went yesterday to take notes on if it is raining, we need to re-club. And we got to play the course. We're not going to try to cut the corner in the rain. And with the humidity, the ball's not going to travel as far.
Had it rained a lot up there yesterday? Because I know it was pouring downtown here yesterday morning, but then out there, south of town, it was dry. I mean, it got out there and it sprinkled a little bit. Of course, it had rained the night before, whatever, so the course was sloppy. But during the day, it didn't rain at all out there. Now, of course, last night that all went, wearing a handbag. But
right.
It was off and on all day on the course. We went out pretty early, and it was hit and miss. You get wet, you get dry, you get wet.
Wanted to ask you. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was going to say, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was down with a friend from up here, Randy Four, who's part of the group that puts the tournament on, and I was down at Randy's house all day, and he lives south of town here, and there was nothing. And when we drove up here, he goes, we came up to go to Applebee's for lunch, and he goes, man, it's been raining up here. He said, and quite a bit actually, and there was nothing down there. Sun was out. He had his pool open. We were having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we ran into yesterday. And, of course, last night it worked out well there. Right after the tournament was over, we went in for the dinner or whatever, and just right at the end of the dinner, here come the thunderstorms, which, of course, lasted all night. But it worked out well there, so hopefully you have the same luck in the next couple of days. It looks kind of spotty, but, this time of year, Ohio, just wait 5 minutes and it'll change.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, Tim, so on a soggy day or course, is it harder to drive the ball or harder to putt? So I guess what I'm saying, if I feel like when you're putting, you get the nice roll.
Yeah.
But is it? I mean, how does that?
It changes. It changes everything. It changes everything. You like Kerry said, drives are not that big a deal in the rain.
Sure.
Because except that you're not going to get that ending 10 or 20 yards of roll. Okay, so you're just going to have to play that. But as far as hitting it and getting it up in the air and getting it out there, I can chunk a drive in perfectly great weather without it being wet. But like Kerry was saying, you have to. I won't. If I hit a drive 240 yards or 250 yards on an average, this will be 220 or 230 now. Now I'm going to have to go up 2 clubs for my second shot. So if I'm used to hitting a driver and a 7-iron to this par 4, it'll be a driver and a 5-iron or hybrid or something, because I'm going to have a lot further second shot. So that affects your accuracy. The longer your club, the less accuracy you have to get on the green. Putting the ball, you just have to get used to. That's why you putt a lot on the green, on the practice green, just to get used to the water and how much it's stopping the ball, how much harder you have to hit the ball to get it through.
Okay. Well, Mark, I had a question for you, if I may. How do you get all of the players here? So I guess what I'm asking is, does the American Blind Golf Association pay for them to come? Because we have golfers from all across the U.S. and even other parts of the world here. Is that right?
Now, we have had players from Scotland in the past. This year we do not, but we do have, I think, 4 players from Canada that are here.
Okay. So how are you able to get them here?
Well, that is a wonderful question. That's a wonderful question. Our players pay an entry fee, first of all. Let me backtrack. I'll
Okay.
tell you what a tournament provides.
Yes.
If as a tournament, I wear about 3 hats here this week, but as a tournament director, here's what you need to provide your players: a hotel room for 4 nights, golf for 2 competitive rounds, a practice round.
Really,
and
golf?
and hopefully a scramble like we do here. So 4 rounds of golf. Most meals don't have to be included, but we're fortunate because they're staying at the Comfort Inn, so they have breakfast up there. We have our coach's dinner tonight. We provide that. That's expected.
Okay.
A banquet, if you will, after the tournament, which we are incredibly fortunate, and I've been very remiss about not mentioning how incredibly helpful the American Legion, all their auxiliaries, the Sons of the American Legion, their volunteers, Doc, Trish, Nancy, Danny, they're all incredible. So there are lots of things that are provided. So our entry fees do not cover all of that, obviously. So in that aspect, then comes the fundraising part. So you folks know about, we have our 2 raffles ahead of time. We have our sponsor scramble. So we've got to probably make up a $5,000-$6,000 deficit before we begin packing in all the money for our charities. So, as I get on my high horse and do the bragging and all that stuff, when you think about it, and I sometimes use this phrase, not too bad for a bunch of blind and half-blind guys coming in to play golf. Tom knows, it's on the website, you've probably taken a glance. I mean, in all our donations last year to the Student Scholarship Fund, to the Wounded Warrior Project, our other veterans initiatives, I mean, we were close to $35,000 last year.
That's amazing.
35. The sponsors and people in our community, the Wadsworth community and Medina County, have just been awesome. There's no words to describe it.
Mark, don't forget about the car for the most spirited team also.
See, you're
Now
leaving
that's
the best part out.
Tom Casto out there right now is just puckering up. He's
After the pro-am, the scramble that we have, he gave out these cards for Callaway Golf. And if you got one, you had to go down and take a test drive, and then they would activate it. And you got it was like $50 or $100, something like that. So I told Tom, I said, if I win one of these, I said, I'm coming over, and you got to let me test drive a car. And he goes, oh, sure, no problem. They gave away 12 of them that year.
I think so.
And I won 8 of them.
Did you really?
On our 50-50 drive.
Oh.
Every time I won one, Tom Casto's head dropped even further down. I went in the next morning. I said, "Okay, where's the 8 cars?
Yeah,
Let's
where
go."
they at? Let's go.
Oh, that's funny. It is 8:33 on a Tuesday morning here on Wadsworth Community Radio with Tom and Tina and our guests, Tim Jackson, Coach Carrie Dean, and of course, Mark Arnold. That's funny.
Just like last week when Mark was saying that after he was on this one day he was driving over to Indiana, and it's like wait a minute, and I was joking earlier too. Mark had texted me this morning, and I'm getting ready to send it back to him, and I said, okay, see you guys in about an hour, and Tina's going, wait a minute, you don't want to send.
Yeah, that's like I tell people. I said, I'm a very good driver, of course, and as long as you tell me what color the lights are, I can do this.
You're good to go. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you guys are a hoot. Well, I knew you were no stranger around here, Tim, because were you the 2011 Player of the Year?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay, because I saw a video where you presented next year's award, so 2012, to Bruce Hooper, who we just had on yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I like the way that we do it, and Mark started this out a few years ago, and there's a Coach of the Year and a Player of the Year, and Carrie has won the Coach of the Year before, and it's an honor because you're looked at from your peers as that this was your year, or that you've had a career leading up to this, and it's an extremely tight group of people. And as you know, this is the tournament was called the Denny McCullough Memorial, and it's the North American Match Play Championships. It's and Denny McCullough passed away of cancer, and I'm sure you probably have all heard the story before, but the speech that he gave will bring tears to your eyes. He when he found out he had cancer, they were going to give him all these phone numbers to these support groups, and he said, no, I don't need those. And they said, everybody says that, everybody. He goes, no, you don't understand. He goes, I believe in support groups, but I've got the best support group on earth. I've got Blind Golf, and I make one phone call, and in a half hour, golfers worldwide know that I get phone calls. Do you need anything? Whatever you need, you got it. And that's the way this group is.
It's just like a fraternity. I mean, it's just that camaraderie. Again, of just the what the involvement that I've had in helping out at some of the tournaments and the photographs and everything else that I've been able to do, had the privilege of doing. To be honest with you, you could see that, and you can tell the smiles on the faces and aren't that's not posed for the camera. Those are all genuine, and
when we step on the first tee, all bets are off. I want to beat you bad, okay? But when we walk up, and that's what somebody who watched our tournament one year up here, he said, I've never seen anything like it. He goes, they step on that first tee, and they want to win.
They got the game face
game
on.
is on.
Yeah, game face on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but when you walk off the 18th green, it's who we fight each other to see who buys the first round, and then it's like whatever you need.
Then you're brothers again.
But you step on that green on that first tee,
You're frenemies.
is on.
I like that. There you go.
like that. That's
Frenemies.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, could one of you answer for me what the winner does get of the tournament? Maybe Mark?
Well, there are
A pat
two-
on the back, right?
there are-
Good job. Well done.
There are two things. Well, first, always in blind golf, the coach and the player receive the award.
That's probably why you
All
want
right,
to be
so
coach. Coach, I get it.
First and foremost, and we have had different trophies, items every year. We try to switch it up a little bit. I think the year that Tim won the match play here a few years back, we had custom American blind golf flags.
Yeah,
which were-
exactly.
Which were very nice. We've had plaques in the past. In the last couple years, Roger Klein, who is instrumental in helping us put this together, has a niece that is very artistically talented, and we have championship hats made that are embroidered, but on the bill, on the brim, she custom does things every year. So the champions this year will receive their custom hats. And another tradition that we have, kind of like the Masters has the green jacket, and there are different traditions, you would only receive one, but if you ever win the match play championship here, you will receive the commemorative blue hat.
I should have brought it.
And
I
you
have
were
it.
supposed
Is that what
to-
you were
were
talking
supposed
about
to wear
just
it
not yet?
tonight at the
Sorry,
dinner.
that's
But you know what? We have it in a photo from last year, I believe. If you can see this of you two, of you and Coach.
The most important thing is the bragging rights.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's been a couple years since Tim has won. That 3-foot putt's now like 20 feet by now, just like the fish stories.
Well, Coach, that's what I was going to ask you. What are his odds? Do you think they're good of winning this year?
If he pays attention to his coach, it'll be very good.
There you go.
It looks from this photo that you two just have a ball out there on the course. I mean, you're laughing in this photo, all smiles.
Notice that's before they're on the first tee, though. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It goes from laughter to tears to laughter to laughter.
Does anybody get hit out there?
Not when the cameras are rolling.
Okay.
The other thing is that Mark will tell you this, that if he has people that he brings in and wants them to go out and enjoy a practice round, he'll call and say, hey, can these guys play with you too? And we have people that say, I want to play with Kerry and Tim because it's a blast to play the practice round because we joke around and mess around and really have a good time.
On the first hole, Tim gets up, gets set. What's his coach say? Close your good eye and whack it.
Or he'll tell me either hit it down the center of the fairway or close to the cart path so I don't have to walk it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you seem like a great coach. I mean, really good advice given here. Seriously.
I honestly don't know much about the game of golf. I consider myself more of a therapist without a couch.
Okay, there you go.
I have a golf cart as my couch, but Tim does not hate his mother, never hated his mother.
Well, I guess one of my final questions, Tim, maybe it's a funnier one, but I'm looking at this photo. And there are 2 golf bags and about 72,000 clubs. How many do you use?
You're only supposed to use 14.
Here we go. Yeah,
14, okay.
That you're only supposed to carry 14 in your bag. Now, that's what the rule says. It actually says 14 clubs in your bag. Well, there's only 14 in the bag. There's 3 that sit in the cart over on the side, but there's only 14. And no, you're only supposed to play with 14. Now, on a practice round, sometimes I will have up to 16, 17 clubs in the bag just to see, because there are times when I won't be able to hit a 5-iron for 2 weeks because it just, I don't know what it is. And then all of a sudden it'll come back. But so you take those out, you hit all the clubs. That's why when you play a practice round, I may hit 4 tee shots off I will on that par 2, on number 2, that par 3. I'll hit 4 tee shots and not worry about the putting or chipping because I want to find out what club I'm going to need at this particular week in order to get to that green. And so it's then once you get that, you pare it down so you carry 14 in the tournament, because if you have more than that, it's a stroke penalty for every hole that you play with more than 14 clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And see, this photo here was taken on the fun day, the last day.
So that's why you have 37,000. Okay, now it makes sense. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we let you head on out and maybe get some practice rounds in or a few swings?
I would like to chime in a couple things. I don't want to start the mutual admiration society for these two because I really don't like them. But anyway.
I thought you were talking about me and Tom. Never mind. Go ahead.
They will. They'll never say this, but I am here to tell you that every fundraiser that we have, they drive up a few hours to come here. And I couldn't even begin to calculate the money they have spent. And I mean over the years, literally, they will deny it, but literally several $1,000s. If there are raffle tickets, if there are things we're raising money, they're here. And the second thing of all, getting on the philosophical soapbox, but there's so many things we try to accomplish at a tournament, and that's another reason I had them down here, because they won't mention it, but most people think, blind and vision impaired folks, oh gosh, I guess Uncle Sam's taking care of them. You guys know that I just retired 35 and a half years in education.
Right.
Not only Kerry, but both Tim work for the Criminal Investigation Unit of the Internal Revenue Service. So there's no handouts to our lives. There's some challenges. In fact, if you want to look statistically, less than 20% of all blind and vision impaired folks can support themselves and their families. And, another thing we're trying to do is say, hey, you can do it. Technology is changing that and improving the employability of all of us.
And I know too from being at and to get at some of the fundraisers and everything else with the scholarships and some of the aids that you give to the kids and those things. You're proving that with the things that you're doing.
Sure.
They're proving right off the bat to the kids that are 3, 4, 5 years old that are already visually impaired that you can do this. You might need it just like a carpenter. A carpenter can't build a house without a hammer.
Absolutely.
And all it is a tool. You just no pun intended, you look at it differently. It is a tool to get you through life just like a hammer or a saw is. And that's the only difference.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Once you teach a child that or someone that at an early age, they have no you took their handicap away.
Right, and it's I had this it's not an argument, but this talk with another guy who has he runs a league for the blind, and he's more concerned with getting them food, shelter, clothes, and the essentials. And so he always thought that whatever money we garnered from sponsors took away from him, and we will hold when we get the chance to. We'll hold junior blind golf clinics, bring in blind children and teach them how to play golf. And my statement to him was always, there's more to life. When the people have the essentials, the food, the clothing, the housing, is that all? And then they just sit and do nothing else because no one's ever pushed them, showed them. I said, this is where we fit in. We take them to another level. If you've got all the essentials, now there's a quality to life that sighted people grab the clubs, jump in the car, go play golf. Grab their baseball bat, their softball bat, go out and they play softball. And blind young adults and children, until you show them that they can and how they can, and that's where we fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's just touching. I'm so glad that Mark, you've had yourself and you've had several people come up here to chat with us because every story is so inspiring. And I think it's fantastic the community that you've built with blind golf that can just help and encourage each other. And I love the things that are starting to be done with helping the youth know that it's okay, you can overcome that. And then what technology's enabled you to do. I think it's fantastic.
Well, I know. For example, Mark, your brother with the phones now, you can take a picture of, and you take a picture, and it'll tell you whether it's $1 bill or 100, or
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
mean,
awesome.
and you mentioned too with I know you've walked down to the studio several times to be on, and you've got the app that tells you what street corner, what the street signs are and everything else. It's like you said, the technology,
it's amazing.
It's there, and it can, and that's what the blind golf is doing. I mean, you're bringing that technology to the kids and letting them know that what's there.
We're all very proud of that. We truly are.
Yes,
we truly are.
Yeah. And with the iPhones, the way the phones are now, you actually have a partner that can walk with you. Because they'll talk to you, you talk to it, they'll talk back to you.
Surrey!
Yeah, it's like...
My little one loves Surrey, too. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time, maybe away from practicing for the big day tomorrow, to come and chat with us and inspire us. And I'm sure everyone who's listening, too, we really appreciate all of the time and your money.
Yeah.
The joke is there's a big pile of money sitting on the table right here from Coach. And I figure, working for the IRS, you must have some extra, right?
Yeah, that's it. Well, thanks again to Tim, Carey, and Mark for being on air with us here
Thank
this morning.
you for having us. We appreciate it.
And good luck this week. And we'll see you this evening and all during the week. I'll be out to all the events.
That's right. All the best.
Okay. It's 8:48 in the morning here on Wadsworth Community Radio.